What's up, everybody? My name is Kobe Cornell Boone. Welcome to The Intent. If this is your first time clicking on my channel, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your schedule, out of your day. I pray that this video today you actually find value in. And if you do, I just ask that you like, you share, you subscribe, you send this to somebody that you know. But most importantly, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment below. I am huge on feedback, and that feedback allows me to make sure that I'm putting out content that is actually meaningful, purposeful, and brings value to the rest of the world, which is the whole purpose of these conversations and discussions. So, without further ado, thank you and welcome to The Intent. Today's video is one that I really was going to wait a while to put out on this channel as I'm really taking 2024 to go deeper into content creation and ultimately what I feel like is just like being a creator, putting out value into the world. I was going to wait because of the way that some videos can be viewed online when it comes to Second Amendment content in general. And I also am very self aware of myself, what I look like, and the way firearms can be viewed by folks who may not have the best intent when it comes to people who look like me. That's just being real. However, I believe that it's very important to discuss firearms and the education, most importantly, around firearms safety and training for my community because it's important. It's vital. It's vital. It's important. And times are ever changing in our world. So, without further ado, this video is going to be called "My First Gun" and my experience up to becoming a uh, licensed firearm owner. Yeah, and I'll actually discuss today on this video as well my everyday carry. So my EDC, my everyday carry. So my first firearm. Let's back it all the way up to my experience with guns growing up. So my experience with guns growing up was very skewed, right? So growing up in the South, Eastern North Carolina, we had no firearms in our household growing up. Like my grandfather was a huge hunter. Truly wish I had more time to spend with him while he was here on Earth, and to be able to go out and hunt with him, which I never did. But my grandfather was a huge gun guy, huge firearm guy, huge knife guy. He used to smoke a pipe. Getting happy just kind of talking about my grandfather. But that was not passed down per se to my father or taken up by my father rather and passed along to me. So I remember growing up getting uh, grandpa coming by giving me $5, $20, dropping off some rabbit meat that he had just some rabbits he just went out and hunted, whatever the case may be, and talking about maybe a shotgun or something. And that was probably the bulk of my experience, besides movies, television, and TV, which are oftentimes negative depictions of firearms. That was the bulk of my experience. I think I was in either elementary school, it wasn't middle school, when I got my first like airsoft BB gun. Y'all, if y'all remember growing up, for folks out there, the little pellet, little yellow pellet, yellow or purple. I don't remember purple. That's cap. Yellow and what was the other? Orange. That's what I meant to say. Orange. Little airsoft pellets. You could shoot them at the ground, whatever. Really soft. I remember my parents not even wanting me to get that. Because arguably they weren't in the firearm space. They didn't understand it, and they didn't want to. Very Christian Bible Baptist upbringing. They didn't want to influence me into something that they didn't even understand themselves, respectfully. So had one of those. Got it from like a stockyard, I think, from where close by where I grew up. Until it broke. It's made out of plastic, and again, that was my experience. I did not go to my first gun range, and I didn't fire my first firearm until high school. My first introduction was a hunting rifle, Benelli, with some friends who hunted. It was my first time firing a firearm one time, and the next time I would fire a firearm would be sometime in college at a gun range when I went to my first gun range, and I want to say it was after. I want to say it was after that. Actually, I want to. I almost want to say it's after that. So just setting the preference of somebody who didn't grow up with firearms, wasn't really a big aspect of my household. Didn't hunt when I was younger per se, and bought his first firearm in college. My first firearm that I ever bought in college was around $400. Oh, was it three? It was, yeah. I think tax brought it like 412. I got a 38 special. And matter of fact, was it a Smith and Wesson? No, I had a 38 Rossi, Rossi. I had a 38 Rossi, very popular, very popular revolver. It's a revolver, had 5 shots in it. The little rotating like wow wow wow, like literally, it was an old school revolver, little snub nose. And that was my first gun. That was my first gun. I remember I bought that in North Carolina, and it was my introduction into firearms. I don't even know why I didn't get an automatic weapon. I think I just got what I felt like I could afford, and I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. I just felt like a 38 special. Just it seemed, yeah, yeah, 5 bullets. This, yeah, okay, cool. And I remember of friends who were, and at the time we're all in the state of North Carolina at this time, and I'm not so prepped on the laws in North Carolina. I don't live there anymore. But at this time, you had to be like 21 to get a permit to purchase a handgun in North Carolina. At the time, I think you could buy a shotgun or a rifle or something, which were cheaper. But of course, I'm thinking in my mind personal protection, so I'm looking for a handgun. So I got this 38, had it until it got stolen out of my car when I was in Texas, when I moved to Texas, but still did not have the training and education around firearms to an extent that when I look back on I would definitely like be proud of. That didn't take place until I came to Texas. And it was after the pandemic, after my gun had got stolen out of my car. Um, don't know if I should say that, but I mean, it's the reality. I mean, it happens all the time. People have stuff like the way or whatever. So it is what it is. So firearm got stolen. Firearm got stolen, and I was like, okay, I want to learn about this space more. This is like the pandemic, and this is the pandemic, and the world's looking crazy. Folks literally don't know what tomorrow's gonna look like. Toilet tissue issues, whatever is going on. I take me and my wife. We find a certified licensed trainer to do our license to carry with. His name is Oliver. Body by Old Tactical in Texas, based out of Texas. Body by Old Tactical. I say that name a million times. Absolutely amazing, and community, just overall everything tactical. This man is incredible for. Well, anyway, me and my wife go, and that was really like my introduction into this space. And I would predicate that by saying this here: if you are weary of getting into the firearm or the gun space, and you don't know where to start with training. I wouldn't tell anybody to start by going to the gun store. While you can, those folks are in a position where they are there to work. They have so many educated folks who are coming in and making purchases, arguably so, right? I've been to gun stores before and stuff before I bought my first gun, but I didn't know about caliber, ballistics, what would fit my hand, what would not. Hadn't rented a gun yet to shoot one to really see what was for me. Um, Automatic, semi-automatic, revolver, whatever the case may be. There's so much education that I believe that you should do before you go and purchase your first firearm. Unlike what I did, just going and seeing what I could afford, buying what I could afford. That I think is super important because you're making an investment, and that investment, like I wish I like, if I was better educated at the time on proper storage or things of that nature, or how to just so many how to's in general to be more of a responsible firearm or gun owner, then I definitely would have loved to still have my first firearm. Right, I would love my still have my first firearm that I ever had. But in general, to snap it back to the conversation, start with training. You know, You can go to a gun store and see before you go to the counter and ask, hey, what should I buy? See what offerings they have, whether it is a license to carry uh, seminar, training session, or whatever, a certification, whether it is, you getting out on the range or being able to rent a firearm, learning proper holding, but learning proper safety, dry fire drills. So dry firing when there's no round in the chamber, there's nothing there at all. Um, I would encourage folks to start there, and I believe it's important for everyone. I think it's one of the what we have, the beauty within the United States, and I can't think of the number off the top of my head. Coleon Nior just said it on the video. Big gun guy, you guys can check out Coleon Nior. I'm probably not saying his name right, but some people say Colon. People say anything. Check him out. Good brother. Used to be, I think he's based out of Houston. Used to be a attorney in law, and has a great channel that I believe is for beginners, advanced folks, laws, everything in general um, to help you in general. So check them out. But in general, I would say starting with training is something that I wish I did earlier, but now that I'm here, I see how it's so vitally important to having citizens within the United States who are well equipped and trained to deal with tyranny if it were ever to arise. Um, how far do I want to go in this on this first video? My gosh. Um, we are afforded certain rights and liberties here in the United States that we do not take advantage of and we do not appreciate. And when you look at other nations in the world who they have their statistics, they have their numbers based on violence, whatever the case may be. More often than not, if you were to speak to any husband, any father, any individual about the people that they love, let's not even take firearms out of it. Let's say just the people they love. If they had the ability to diffuse a situation without violence, and were unable to protect the ones that they love without violence, and they did not have the ability or afforded the right to be able to go to a different measure and feel protected and feel like there were laws and things in place to ensure that them doing what was needed to protect their own lives and those that they love, if that's a nation or a place that they would want to be in, I would vouch to say 9 times out of 10 they would probably say no. Probably say no. This video is a little spicy, but I can't give it nothing else but to be real. And I know some real people out there feel me. That's just the reality. So I am proud to be an American. I'm proud to be in the great country of Texas. I'm proud to be an individual who understands and recognizes both the amazing and incredible rights that are afforded to me as a citizen of this country, but also understand the weight of responsibility and duty and accountability that comes with that right, and that is something I definitely advocate for. So in this video in particular, that is probably the basis of where I want to begin with telling a little bit about my story and my journey into being a licensed firearm owner, concealed carry owner, license to carry, whatever the case may be, whichever one you want to talk about, um, into that journey, and how I believe it's a very, my story is not a unique one. I feel like a lot of folks who grew up that firearms and gun safety and things of that nature or hunting wasn't a big part of their upbringing. You might be someone who just is like, hey, I'm searching the internet right now. You could happen to click upon this video and say, hey, I'm a single mom, and I work late, or I have, young children or kids, and we live alone, and I want to learn how can I better protect my family? How can I, you know, do all the other things as well, right? Like set up my security systems. There's great channels out there for that, or how to. There's great people who are ex Navy SEALs, and that's one thing too that I'll add, and I'll preface in this video before we get off. You can literally start with the education at home from people who have gone and served in the armed forces who have been to war, came back, started businesses, started companies. You can literally learn from them on YouTube, online for free, and then go out to these different ranges and meet your local servicemen, whether active or inactive or folks, and if they're willing, approach, if they're willing to speak or talk inside the store, or if they have a brand that you can follow, you can learn directly from people who literally work with firearms for a living. And I think that's one of the beauties that we have in this day and age and time as well, is that if you are not a trained, responsible owner yourself, or you're looking to become a trained and responsible owner, you have a plethora of resources that are available for you to do so. And if there's anything that I would say, in my personal opinion, that I truly believe, is that we need more educated firearm owners within the United States, educated as far as training, both on laws as well as training. And what it does vicariously is just creates, in my opinion, a healthier society. When folks have the training, the responsibility in place when it comes to these tools that we have to be able to practice our rights with and protect those that we ultimately love. So go out, get trained, get familiar in the space if you so choose. And I hope this video really kind of just makes folks who are maybe new to the space, or maybe in the space, a little more comfortable with the journey in. I will share more content like this. If you guys leave a comment or feedback below on this video, I'll definitely share more content in the future. I'll try to preface some stories in there. It may not go too detail on some stories, more or less just because I want to embarrass myself. But I would definitely, yeah, I would definitely share more stories, and just how I kind of came to where I am at today in firearms, and now training for, longer ranges on a range up to 400 yards plus, and hunting and things of that nature. So that's this video. Please like, share, subscribe, send it to somebody you know. But until next time, thank you for checking out The Intent. God bless.